If you tried selling automation but never made any real money, I can assure you that you're selling things that nobody wants. But trust me, I've been there myself. Now, I know you're thinking, Saad, isn't AI and automation the future? Well, it certainly is, but here's what most freelancers and beginners that want to sell automation completely miss. AI and automation is just the vehicle. The outcome is what people actually pay for. And after going from a balancer to a band freelancer to growing a sales team agency to 105K a month, I realized that the reason why most people I started with never really made it wasn't because they weren't smart or they weren't working hard enough. It's because they kept selling tools, not outcomes. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to skip all that fluff and go straight to where the money is already moving, real demand, where businesses are already looking to buy. So without taking too much of your time, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the industry that we're going to be talking about is going to be the recruitment niche. And to give you guys some context, my first sales system was going after the recruitment, simply because what they offer is very straightforward and clear, and I'm going to explain that in just a sec. So if I asked you, what do they do? Well, simply they place candidates. That's literally all they do. And they make money when they place someone in a company hiring. Okay, that's very simple. Now, again, if I asked you what's an ideal client for a recruitment company, well, the simple answer is going to be a company hiring, right? That's super simple. But the problem is after working with dozens at this point, is that they are so bad with sales automation and sales in general. They're still relying on manually looking at job boards. They spend hours cold calling and bidding on LinkedIn or waiting for referrals. But guess what now? We can easily scrape job boards at scale of every company in any industry and just connect them both. So let me explain the thought process. So it's essentially a pain sniffing tactic. So the pain sniffing logic here is that if a company is actively posting job openings, for example, a sales rep, talent acquisition, whatever, customer success manager, they are bleeding because you have to understand that hiring isn't just hiring. Hiring equals pain plus budget plus urgency, which means they have the intent to hire, they have the budget, and also they experience pain, okay? So they're not just hiring for fun. They have roles to fill now, and they're struggling to find talent fast enough. Okay, now instead of you trying to place a generic offer in front of cold prospects, right? You become the connector between the pain, which is the open role, and the solution, which is the candidates your recruiter already has. Okay, so like I said, what do? Well, we connect the two. Essentially doing something that nobody does. You're connecting live demand, which is companies hiring, with warm supply, which is recruiters and candidates. It's basically supply and demand, basic business fundamental, okay? And to give you guys some context, a software developer, for example, or like a software engineer candidate, okay, makes 100K a year. And these recruitment companies, they make 20 to 30% of the first initial salary of that candidate. All right, which means $25,000 for each placement. Now, 20-30% is just a general ballpark. Some make more, some make less. So if you help them place just one with a company hiring, you've completely justified the entire cost of everything, the entire cost of the sales system. And you can easily price your services from 2, 3, all the way to 5K. Okay, so it's not only the perfect timing because you're hitting them while they are hiring, but the budget is also confirmed. So you don't need to convince anybody because they're already spending, and there's no vague offers or funnels. It's literally just candidates, intro, and deal. That's it. Now, I know you might be thinking, Saad, let's just address the elephant in the room. Okay, I've managed to get a recruiting client. Okay, now what? How do I deliver? Well, it's simple. The recruiter will tell you, okay? Usually there's a kickoff call where you ask the recruitment agency what kind of talent they have in their pool and what are the type of companies they work with. And they're going to tell you, for examples, like they have SDRs, devs, designers, nurses, etc. And they're also going to tell you the industry of those companies that they want to work with. For example, SaaS, healthcare, fintech, etc. Then you can easily scrape either LinkedIn or Glassdoor or Wellfound for those companies, and I have tons of videos showing you exactly how to do that. Now, obviously, the basics, whenever you build out a sales system, you want to identify the lead source in databases. You also want to pre-draft something called a dream email. And let me walk you guys through the dream email that we're going to be generating, okay? So, hey, first name, okay? And then we're going to also have a personalized line, which is going to be AI generated, okay? And then here's the copy. A handful of companies are actively hiring for the talent you bring. We can represent you directly to them. Again, what is this? It's a clear value prop. Okay, Simple, using simple words, third grade, literally like dummy way to explain it. Instead of bidding on job boards or cold calling, we shortcut that. We scrape live hiring signals, roles already posted with budget and urgency, and enter you directly to the decision makers. Now, again, notice the lingo. I'm saying actively hiring for the talents you bring. Okay, so I'm speaking their language. Okay, this is exactly what I would recommend you guys do whenever you're reaching out to recruitment. And again, I'm saying, hey, roles already posted with budget and urgency, and enter you directly to the decision maker. So that when like the recruiter is gonna read through this, or like the founder of that recruitment agency, like this is an instant growth partner alert. Like this guy knows what he's talking about. Okay, want to send over a few of the companies. So this is essentially the offer. Thanks for the time, Saad. Okay, so this is the copy that we're going to be generating at scale. Okay, so now let's go ahead and scope out the project together. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to build a list of these recruitment companies. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to scrape Apollo. And a lot of people are saying Apollo scraping are dead, but these are people that are not essentially doing this every single day. So I'm going to show you exactly how to scrape Apollo at scale. So scrape Apollo, and we're probably going to have to do this using Epify. Okay, and then we're going to have to enrich decision maker. What I mean by enrich is finding their email, etc., like the company description, etc., etc. So we can use that in our outreach, in our personalized line, in our copy. And the third thing is essentially we're going to have to reach out. Simple, right? This is what I mean by simple, scalable system that actually makes money, okay? And it solves a real life problem, not just fluff, okay? So now what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to sign you up in every platform so I can show you exactly how to do it. And I'm gonna basically take your hand and explain everything end to end. Okay, so step one is I'm gonna go to apollo.io, and I want you to really pay attention to this. So I'm gonna go to sign up for free, and I'm gonna make sure I agree to Apollo's terms, sign up with Google. And I'm just going to choose a random account here that I have. Continue. There we go. Sign up success. They're going to redirect me to their onboarding. Okay, so what describes you? Founder, skip, and then click on continue. And here's the hack to actually scrape Apollo. So first of all, you're going to go to settings, you're going to go to upgrade plan, and you're going to choose try for free the professional. Now we can actually scrape, okay? So this is a hack for you. Hopefully they don't patch this. So I'm going to go to people, okay, and I'm going to start building my list, okay? Now I have the filters that I recommend you guys use, which is going to be this one. Okay, so the company size, we're going to focus on small to mid-sized firms, so 11 to 50 employees, because they're usually responsive and usually are industry specialized. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to, first of all, we're going to go to industry and keywords. We're going to choose the industry that we want. I need to click on next, and finish. Okay, I'm going to go to industry and keywords. Search keyword is going to be staffing and recruiting. Okay. And then I'm going to go to employees, and I want to choose 11 to 20. Okay. And 51 to 200 because they are more structured agencies with multiple recruiters per vertical. Yes. So 51 to 100. And the reason why we're going to 51 to 200 because they're big enough to have a capacity, but not too big to ignore your sales system. Okay. The personas to go for, what I would recommend is founder, CEO, is recruitment manager. Okay. So simply we're going to go to job titles, and we're going to include founder, CEO, and recruitment manager. Recruitment. So CEO and recruitment manager. Okay, I'm gonna have to go to email status and always make sure it's verified. Okay, and also we're gonna have to avoid one-man shows or broke agencies by setting a minimum revenue from 1 million to 10 million. Okay, so we're gonna scroll down and you see this revenue. You only want to deal with 1 million. Okay, they're making 1 million a year. Okay. Okay, sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to location, and I'm going to go to United States. So United States and United Kingdom. Okay, United Kingdom, there's tons of recruitment companies, right? Okay, sweet. So, so more than 1 million. What I'm gonna do is I want to expand this search. So I'm gonna go to job title, and I'm gonna do recruiter. Yeah, recruiter too, because I want to reach out to recruiters of these recruitment agencies. Okay, sweet. I have 4K results. Amazing. Now, how do I scrape this? Well, simply, I'm going to use Apify. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to scrape Apollo, and it's going to be the definitive way to actually scrape Apollo. So I'm simply going to go click on Get Started. I'm going to sign up to a random Apify account by going to Create with Google, Continue with Google. I'm going to continue with this account. That's it. Apify store. Search for actors. I'm going to go to Apollo. Simply type in Apollo in the search bar. So this is the one that I want, Code Pioneer. Okay, I'm going to paste in the search URL and the total numbers of records required. I'm going to put 3,000. Run option is going to be no timeout. And I'm going to click on Start, rent actor, and click on Save and Start. Okay. So now the scraper is going to go ahead and scrape. So scraping successfully started. There we go. So what do I get? I get the emails. I get the departments. I get the first name. I get the last name, the name, organization. If you're wondering what organization means, just means the company. Okay. And if you noticed here, there are a couple fields where we don't have the emails. But guess what? We have the domain and we have the first name and last name. Well, we can find the email. Okay, so now that we scraped Apollo, we scraped 3,000 leads and we proved that scraping Apollo actually works, now we can continue our life, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to make.com and we're going to start building the system, okay? So simply go to make.com and then we're going to go and create a simple flow. Okay, let's just name this recruitment industry, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the search bar. I'm going to type in Apify, okay? And it's going to be get data set items. So essentially, I'm going to retrieve that data that was scraped by the actor, in our case, the scraper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings, right? And then I'm going to hover to API and integration because I need to authenticate my Apify account with Make. Go to API integration. Simply, you see this default API token, copy it. And then you're going to have to go back to Make, click on Add, go to connection type. It's going to be Apify. Connection name, let's name this Sales Systems Recruitment. And then paste in your API token, click on Save. And then now you're going to go back to Run, and you see this storage, and it's going to be dataset ID, copy it. And then you have to go back to Make, paste it in the dataset ID, and go to Limits, and it's going to be 1. And now we click on Save. Click on Run Once. And now I got access to these recruitment companies. Okay. Awesome. So here is the email of that person, Slinger Staff in the UK. Okay. So this is going to be, let's just name this Get Leads from Apify. Okay. And then now we want to handle the case when there's no emails. So I'm going to click on this plus button. I'm going to choose Flow Control. It's going to be Router. Okay, and the first route is going to be email. So email condition. So email exists. Email exists. Okay, click on Save. And the second route is going to be email does not exist. So email does not exist. Does not exist. So if the email exists, then we're going to continue the flow. If the email does not exist, then we're going to have to find the email. So the way we're going to find an email is we're going to use an email enrichment platform. Okay. There are multiple email enrichment platforms. I can use my own, which is the Sales Systems Command Center, which is, I believe, the best email enrichment platform in the planet. The way it works is that it has a waterfall enrichment. So it finds the emails, then it sends it to another email validation tool and it essentially just gives you the real validated email. Okay. So we're not going to deal with catch-all. And this platform is essentially purely for the community members because I don't want them to pay for additional software and break the bank, because usually these email enrichment platforms are
extremely expensive, and it was basically like a friction that I had when I first got started. Okay, when I first got started, it was basically like the moment when I had to basically pull up my credit card and pay for the email enrichment platform. It was very painful. Okay, so now I don't want to deal with that. I just want the members to focus on the actual work, right, and get in those wins instead of like trying to think about, okay, I need email enrichment platform, I need the software. So this is going to completely remove all that anxiety about like, additional software. Now, again, I know that my viewers, my lovely viewers, shout out to you. You guys don't have this platform. You guys don't have access to this. So I'm just going to use any email finder, unfortunately. And I'm going to go to app. Okay. Again, you do not need to be married to any email finder. There are multiple ones. Okay. There's find email. Okay. There's also Scrape. Okay, it's pretty good too. There's also Hunter.io, which I love. Hunter.io is really good, actually. The data accuracy is pretty good. And yeah, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use an email finder. So I'm going to go to API. I'm going to go to API key. This is my API key. And then I'm going to go back to make, click on this plus button, go to search bar and look for any email finder, search for a person's email. I'm going to click on add, go to API key, and then let's just name this recruitment. Okay. Now we're going to have to search by domain since we have the domain. Okay. We have the domain, which is primary domain. And we also have the full name of that person, which is, name. Okay. Now, if I click on save, I'm going to name this find email. Okay. And then since I have the email here, since I'm going to find the email using this flow, I still need to validate the emails scraped off Apollo, because you have to understand that whenever you scrape data or emails from a platform, you still need to validate that just because you don't want to deal with any bounces down the line. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the simplest platform, which is going to be mails.so. And this is mails.so essentially. It's extremely cheap. So you can use it, right? If I go to pricing, okay, so it's like, okay, so $10 per month for 50,000 email validation, which is sweet, right? So once you sign up, you're going to have to go to API. And here's your API key. Now, you do not want to expose your API key just like I'm doing, but I'm just recording a video as always. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to validate a single email. I'm going to go to add, paste it here. And then let's just name this recruitment. Same thing. Click on save. Okay. Now I'm going to go to email. I'm simply going to map in the email that I retrieved. Click on save. And this is going to be validate email. So if email found, we're going to validate it. If email is not found, then we're going to find it and validate it. Okay. So if I run once, because the email exists, I'm going to see if the email is valid. So it's undeliverable. See, you always need to validate your emails. Okay. So now that I validate that the system works, we validate email, find any email. What I'm going to do, I'm going to generate a highly personalized line for them by clicking on this plus button. I'm going to choose my AI model of choice. Is going to be Entropic, right? If you noticed, I always use Entropic because I like it and it's the best with text output results. Again, let me just put a giant label here. You do not need to use it. I just like it because it's cheap and it's better than OpenAI when it comes to text outputs, right? To be heard. So the prompt that I'm going to be using, it's going to be in my 7-figure prompts, which is essentially like a document that I've compiled. So I can just essentially just plug and play any prompt. And don't worry, I'm going to leave you the documents and the resource so you can just basically copy. Okay, so I'm going to paste it here. So what you need to feed in is you're going to feed in the first name, or let's see, you're going to have to feed in the headline. So headline. Okay. We're also going to add title. Okay. So we're going to add title now. Click on save. Okay. Now there's something missing. We need to basically feed more data to AI to have the best quality personalization. So what do? We scrape their website page for their value prop, their recent case studies, their milestones, etc. And we use it using a platform called XAI. Okay, so I'm going to click on this plus button, look for XAI, and let me walk you guys through basically XAI. Essentially, XAI is like an intelligence platform that allows you to build lists in like a few minutes. And what they have also is they have the ability to crawl the web or crawl any website and just retrieve that text from that website that we can use and feed it to AI to have a super personalized outreach. So I'm going to go to API and dashboard. And I'm going to go to API keys, and I'm simply going to create a new API, click create a new API, and then let's just name this example, create a key. I have the API key here, copy it, go to my make, and it's going to be perform a search because we're performing a search. I'm going to click on this add, paste in my API key, click on save. And the search query essentially is going to be the domain that we're going to search, right? So to give you guys some context, XA can scrape not even just websites, it also can scrape company pages. So actually just try the company pages, okay? So let's just go to LinkedIn, just type in LinkedIn in the search item. So LinkedIn, and this is the LinkedIn URL of the company. So LinkedIn URL, let's just save this, run once. Obviously the first email is not valid. So what we need to do is let's just run this at 2 limits, okay? To 2 records, run once. And then the second email is valid. Okay. So if you noticed here, we have the text. Now let's just read through this. Congrats on building Kissington Additive into a specialized recruitment firm. Scaling from traditional engineer into niche AM market shows remarkable vision. Okay, that's really good. Now, what I'm going to do is let me just lower the temperature just a little bit by going to show advanced and go to temperature, and then let's just lower it to 0.6 and save, and then let's just run once again. Congrats on building a niche recruitment powerhouse. Your focus on root cause recruitment shows true understanding of advanced manufacturing talent needs. Okay, this is way better. See, when you lower the temperature, the AI will basically output a more casual tone. So now let's just name this scrape LinkedIn page. Okay. So the idea here is that XA can scrape not only pages, but also LinkedIn. So you can essentially just put the domain here of that website. We can put the LinkedIn company page, or you can even scrape their own LinkedIn profile. Okay. So this is going to be generate personalization. Okay. And then now the simple thing that we need to do is just copy these entire modules, paste them here. Okay. And then now in terms of the filter, we're gonna have to put if is email found. Okay. So the email exists and click on save. Okay. And then now we're gonna actually do the same thing. And then we're gonna generate the personalization. Okay. And then let's just save this, auto align this. So now next step is we're gonna have to pre-draft the dream email that we have. Okay. So we're gonna go to tools, set variable. Okay. So set variable is gonna be dream email. And what we're gonna do is, hey, obviously the first name of that person, which is Theo. We're going to add a dash, and we're going to add the congrats line that's going to be personalized for them. And now we're simply going to copy the dream email that we have. So copy it, Control C, paste this here, copy, paste this here. And then the last thing is going to be the offer. We're going to have to copy it. See how easy it is to basically just automate your entire lead gen at scale with personalized copies, like in just 10 minutes, okay? So click on save. Now we're just gonna have to copy this, paste this here, same thing, okay? Because we're only dealing with records that we don't have where we don't have the emails. It's gonna be dream email. And it's gonna be, again, dream email. Simple. Save this, auto align this, okay? And what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna map in the correct prompt, the correct response from Claude. Click on save. Now the last step is I'm gonna push this to instantly for instant outreach by going to instantly AI, add leads to a campaign. Okay. And then I'm gonna go to my instantly account and I'm gonna show you guys how to authenticate your account. Okay. So it's pretty simple. So we're gonna have to log into the account. And what we're going to have to do is going to go to campaigns, add new. Let's just name this recruitment. and we're going to have to continue. And now I'm going to go to settings, and go to integration, and always go to API keys, and it's always going to be version 1, okay? Don't go for version 2. You only want to go for version 2 if you want to basically manipulate their API users, their own documentation, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this add button, click on API key, paste this here, and then I'm just going to name this recruitment, simple naming convention, click on save, right? And I'm going to go to campaign ID. Now I can get access to it, right? The recruitment. Now the leads email is going to be the email that is valid, right? Which is email. And the first name, we're just going to have to map in first name, last name. Company name is going to essentially be organization name. So whenever you care about Polo, the company name is going to be organization name, which is Slinger in my case. The personalization is obviously going to be the dream email. So dream email. And save it. Now, essentially, I can just copy it, paste it here, boom. And now the only thing I have to change is basically going to be the dream email. The dream email and the email found. So email here, and then the dream email here. Okay, now let's just save this, auto align this, save this. And then if I go to my campaign, if I go to leads, there's nothing here. But now let me just run this at, for example, 50 records. Okay, so 50 leads. So the first one is not going to be valid, obviously. The second one is going to be valid. So we're scraping the LinkedIn page, generating personalization, generating dream email, and we're going to add everything to our Instantly accounts. Okay, so the first one has been added. Okay, sweet. Now if I go to Instantly, I'm going to see that my leads are added here. So these are all recruitment companies. And here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to go to sequences, and I'm going to type in personalization. This is just a variable. Preview. Hey Mary, congrats on building a niche recruitment firm. Maintaining boutique service while competing with giants in life science is impressive. A handful of companies are actively hiring for the talents you bring. We can represent you directly to them. Instead of bidding on job boards or cold calling, we shortcut that. We scrape live hiring signals, roles already posted with budget and urgency, and intro you directly to the decision makers. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is the subject line is going to be quick intros for company name. So this is essentially like a good subject line that frames you as a growth partner, not just a random lead gen, like a random automation agency. I also include sends from my iPhone. So when they look over this, they read the personalized line, they see the copy, the clear offer, the really nice subject line. They're like, okay, I want to hear more. Like I want to buy. See? Hey Bob, congrats on building a niche recruitment powerhouse. Maintaining a 16-year legacy in construction talent acquisition is rare in the industry. Okay, sweet. Awesome. So the system is going to keep running until we finish. And there we go. So ideally, here's what you want to do. You want to go to get leads, and you want to batch this by going 600, okay? Because you don't want to have any rate limits. And you're going to go to tools, and we want to add a resume module. Actually, it's a break module. Yeah, it's a break module. You want to add a break module for a variety of reasons. Because sometimes we're going to get some rate limits, right? Using an email finder or mail status or even Exa. So we're going to click on save, and the system is going to basically stop and wait for like 10 minutes, right? And it's going to continue where it stopped. So that's awesome. So I'm going to go to settings and always make sure it's allow storing of incomplete executions and click on save. Now let's just put this here in Exa and also in an email finder and also in Exa here, and then save this. Auto align this. There we go. And now essentially we can just batch this by 600. And then if you go to offsets, you can essentially skip the first 600. And again, if I put 600, right, I'm going to skip the first 600 and I'm going to continue. Okay. And this is how you batch it without getting rate limited.
So that's everything you need to know to tap into a simple high demand industry that actually needs sales automation. It simply makes sense because you're solving a real life problem, not selling something that nobody wants. And remember, when you connect automation with revenue, it simply clicks. So get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.